Welcome back, everyone. I go by the name of MPHO, and this is the Couch Potato, a channel where we talk all things movies, series, and pretty much everything that your favorite streaming platforms have got to offer. To my returning subscribers and viewers, welcome back, guys. And if you are new to the channel, welcome to the family. Just make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to do exactly that.
Lupin is a French mystery and crime drama series created by George Kay and Francois Ozon and inspired by Maurice Leblanc, who is a French novelist and creator of Arsène Lupin, a fictional story about a gentleman thief and master of disguise. The 10-episode Netflix series follows the life of Arsène Diop, starring Omar Sy, as a gentleman thief and con artist who is set out to avenge his father Babacar Diop, who died after being wrongfully accused of a crime he did not commit.
As you saw in that introduction, as well as the title of the video, today we are doing a review of Lupin, as some would call it Lupin. And without further ado, let's get into it. I like talking about the pilot episode because it is that hook of the story. It is the creator's first opportunity to present and sell the story to us as the audience. And of course, it is the episode that sets the tone and the direction of the entire series. Most stories in the subgenre of crime drama, mystery, action have a tendency of starting out in the same way, with some sort of an action, chasing, shooting, fighting, and any form of action basically that leaves us with so many questions. However, it was quite different with the series. In that first opening scene, we see Arsène having coffee with Claire, the mother of his child, and the questions that arise are actually from that conversation that they're having, and we get a sense that Arsène is not really much of a present person in his son's life. He then makes a promise that things will change, and later in that episode, in the closing scene of that same episode, we see him fulfilling that promise and spending time with his son. That was just another way of telling us that apart from a son's mission of vengeance, one thing that is very, very important in his life is his family. And I just think that was a great way to open and close that pilot episode. One of the things that stood out in that first episode was obviously the heist, and I really liked how the heist was one of the first plot points that changed the story in a direction where we saw Arsène exposing how stupid the police department was. And also in the direction where we get the backstory of why the heist happened, as well as how he managed to pull it off. I think it sort of gave off that Now You See Me vibe, where they actually give you a backstory and the behind the scenes of how he managed to pull off that heist. Another interesting thing that I picked up in the series is the fact that the book, the Lupin book, came from the Pellegrini bookshelf. I really like the irony behind it, in a sense that Arsène, the gentleman thief, is some sort of a product of the Pellegrini household because that book came from their bookshelf. It did raise a lot of questions as to why that scene was included in the series and what is it that it was actually saying to us. And that was pretty much what I got from it. And if you were able to pick up something different from that, then feel free to share in the comment section. I really like the scene flow in terms of the plot points that were used so well for the progression of the story, as well as moving the story in a direction that favored Arsène as well as his mission of vengeance. I also like the use of flashbacks, which sort of gave us answers as the audience, as well as the reasons behind Arsène's actions. And we also get some information from the flashbacks about the racial and class inequalities that existed 25 years ago when Arsène was still a teenage boy. Another interesting thing that I picked up with regards to the scene flow is the relationship that existed between the opening scene as well as the last scene of each of the episodes. Just to dive in a little bit deeper, with the first episode, in that opening scene, we saw Claire having a conversation with her son about how much of an absent father our son was. And in that last scene of the same episode, we saw our son being a present person and actually spending time with his son. And with episode 2, we saw Hassan in that opening scene going to jail to go seek some answers from a man by the name of Etienne Commit. And in that last scene of that same episode, we saw Hassan leaving a diamond for Commit's wife, as per Commit's request to make his wife happy. And in the third episode, we saw the surveillance on Dumont by Hassan, making use of a lot of cameras that he planted around Dumont's house. And at the last scene of the same episode, we see the surveillance again, but this time around, the surveillance is through the Bluetooth speaker, which they refer to as Sese. So the opening scene was surveillance on Dumont via cameras, and at the last scene, it was surveillance again via surveillance on Dumont via the Bluetooth speaker, which I did say was referred to as Sese. And in the fourth episode, we saw a drone flying in the Pellegrini office, leaving us with a lot of questions as to why there's a drone flying in someone's office in the middle of the night, in between beams of lasers. And we sort of get the answers at the end of that episode with the two interchanging scenes, as well as the music playing in the background. But the interesting part, guys, is that the answers to the drone scene are actually found in the song that's playing in the background. Right?
Wait, what?
Yes, guys. And this is the song. Go check it out. It's called Meaning by Cascadeo, the choral version. Check it out, listen to it, check out the lyrics. And when you do check out the lyrics, be on the lookout for words such as strange, which is strange man, which is the drone, monster, which is not human, but rather the drone, angel, which is the flying drone, invincible, which is the drone flying in darkness. And the interesting one says, but someday you will understand the meaning of my life, which is true because later in the series, we do get the answers. We do get a reason as to why the drone was in that Pellegrini office. And that's pretty much what happens with almost all of the episodes. I think about 90% of them, if not all of them. And yeah, some start with tragedy and end with a tragedy. Some start with a meaning and then end with a meaning. Some start with a question and end with an answer. And it's pretty much something that was quite interesting to see in that story. And if you will be watching this for the first time, then make sure you keep an eye out for those ones. Another thing that I want to talk about is the police department, the Popos. And I gotta be honest, guys, I was not so impressed with the Popos in the story. I think the story made them look somewhat senseless, amateurish, and confused almost 99% of the time. With the heist, I was not so impressed with how they handled that situation. I did not get why it was so hard for them to get some sort of a footage or a clearer picture of Hassan at that event. I mean, this was an elite event where an expensive and prestigious necklace was auctioned. So I guess it's only fair to assume that the security at that venue must have been 150%, right? We saw them failing again in episode 3 when Dumont was kidnapped by Hassan at City Hall. And then again, I mean, this is a state building that probably has cameras inside and outside the building, but they were only able to get an unclear picture from outside the building, which was quite weird. Also, it's not like Hassan's disguise was that misleading. I mean, how hard was it for the security and reception employees to spot a tall, dark black man wearing an orange beanie and a green pullover? Really, guys? Really? Talking about black people, I don't get why they failed to send a picture of Hassan to the police officers that went to look for him at the train station after they got a tip-off that Hassan was at the train station. I mean, how are you going to catch someone without some sort of a reference of how he looks? A picture, maybe?
Who does that?
And I mean, the police officers literally went past Hassan and straight to Leonard on some, yeah, we can smell the diamond. It's on that black guy with the beige coat. Really, guys? Really? And then we saw the inspector comparing the picture of Hassan, which they already had, with the picture of the black guy that just caught on some, no, it's not the same guy. But this one had a diamond, so that's good enough reason to question him. Really, guys? Really? Yeah, like I said, guys, I was not so impressed with the popos. It's like literally all the evidence that they had was handed to them on a silver platter, and they really didn't do much, you know. But I will give them the benefit of a doubt. This is not a story about the police and the good job that the popos do to catch criminals and bring about justice. This is not NCIS. This is not Blacklist. This is not White Collar. This is not a story about the police. And I guess that's pretty much the reason why we can't be paying so much attention to what the popos are doing.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Okay, any questions, guys? Yes? No?
Are you on meds?
Yeah, antibiotics, just keep them fresh. No, I'm not mentally ill, if that's what you're implying.
I'm just kidding, guys. But I mean, apart from the exceptional scene flow, as well as the structure and other good things in the story, I did feel like the story did have a few loopholes that left me with so many questions like, who is the hero in the story? Is it our son? And if it is, then are we okay with our son using criminal methods to bring about justice? What makes our son different from Dumont, who is full of corruption? I mean, our son is a burglar, he's a thief, he's a kidnapper. So basically, in the face of the law, they are both guilty. So I'm gonna ask this question again. What makes our son different from Dumont? With the police failing to catch the right black guy, what is the story telling us about the stereotype of black people? Why did the story tell us that it took Hassan 4 hours to get answers from Dumont during the kidnapping? I mean, what if Dumont did not give in within the 4 hours? And what if the popos found Dumont within the 4 hours? What's the deal with Claire? What's the deal with Ben? I mean, we're not getting much from him. No information about his background or upbringing whatsoever. His character and story is centered around helping Hassan. It's like his existence depends on Hassan, it's like his Hassan's second baby.
That's true.
I'm just kidding, guys. I'm sorry for taking shots at Ben like that. But I'm just saying it would be nice to just get some more insight into his storyline as well as character development. And I think the same would apply to Clay, Raul, and the other characters that are close to Hassan. Like I said, guys, there was so many things to question in the series, but funny enough, at the same time, I did enjoy that because it is a mystery story. It is a story that's bound to leave you with so many questions, and just to build up that suspense and mystery so that people, or rather the audience, can stay glued to the screen and leave you wanting so much more. And I think that's why they also drop it in like 5 parts, so that, you know, we always find ourselves in a position where we are always craving for so much information from that series. And like I said, there was so many things to question in the series, and if there were any other questions that you find while you were watching the series, then feel free to leave those questions in the comment section and we will probably answer some of those.
Okay.
Just to wrap it up, guys, I really like the show. I like how they presented it to us. I like the scene flow together with the use of the flashbacks that made the story such an easy and simple one to follow. I also liked how they presented the conflict in the story, the internal conflict that was faced by Hassan, as well as the external conflict that he encountered with the Pellegrini family. And lastly, I really loved the cinematic effects of the story, the camera use, the lighting, as well as the soundtrack selection that brought the story so tight together and made it an enjoyable one that ended up winning our hearts as the audience. It is definitely worth the watch, and with that said, I am going to give this series 3 out of 5 potatoes. I am gonna slice those ones, make some potato chips, and go and enjoy me some Lupin.
All right, done.
I really hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like and don't forget to subscribe as well. And with that said, I am out. I'm going to enjoy me some potato chips like I said, and see you in the next video. Salute.